For the last 2 years, we have been hearing the same prediction. AI is coming for sales job. AI will replace consultants. AI will replace managers. Maybe it will. But after spending more than 25 years in enterprise B2B sales, I think we are asking the wrong question. The question is not, will AI replace salespeople? The real question is, which part of selling is AI replacing and which part is becoming even more valuable? And if you are a sales head, entrepreneur, founder, consultant, or anyone involved in enterprise sales, that difference could define your career over the next decade. Before we begin, I would love to hear your opinion. Do you think AI will replace your job? Will it simply help you become more productive? Or will experienced professionals become even more valuable? Write your answer in the comments. I read every one of them, and many of my videos begin with discussions from this community. And if you enjoy practical conversations on leadership, sales, business strategy, and management, do subscribe to the Management View. Now, let me tell you something that caught my attention. Researchers from Harvard and Boston Consulting Group studied how professionals performed after they started using generative AI. The obvious finding was that people completed work faster. But another finding fascinated me. In many situations, the quality of work also improved. Now imagine you are the CEO of a company. You read that report, then you look at your own sales organization. AI can already research prospects, write emails, prepare proposals, update the CRM, even summarize the meetings. It can forecast pipeline, generate reports. Naturally, one uncomfortable question appears. If AI can already perform so many activities, what exactly am I paying my sales team to do? It's a logical question, but I believe it's the wrong one because sales is not a collection of activities. Sales is the ability to help other human being make an important decision. And that takes me to something I've learned after 25 years of enterprise selling. Customers rarely tell you the real reason. They tell you the safest one. Let me explain. A few years ago, I was involved in pitching for a fairly significant consulting assignment. Everything appeared to be going in our favor. The commercial team liked us. The operations vice president had approved the proposal. Technically, we had answered every question. The final meeting with the CEO felt like a formality. She welcomed us. He spoke about 5 minutes. She smiled, thanked us for coming, and then she said something every salesperson has heard at some point. We'll get back to you. That was it. No objections, no negotiation, no difficult questions. Just we will get back to you. We didn't get the project. A few days later, I discovered the real reason. It was not our pricing, it wasn't our capability, it wasn't even our proposal. One of our key implementation experts was based remotely. The CEO had previously gone through a failed implementation where a critical project resource worked remotely. She had been badly burnt by that experience. This time, she wasn't willing to take that chance again. Did she tell us that in the meeting? No, she simply said, we'll get back to you. Now think about that. An AI system could easily summarize that meeting. It could capture every word that was spoken. But would it know that a decision had actually been shaped by something that happened years earlier? Probably not, because the words and the reason were completely different. And that's the first lesson. Enterprise sales is not about listening to what customers say, it's about understanding why they say it. Let me give you another example. We were pursuing another enterprise opportunity. The CIO was our primary contact. Initially, everything looked positive. The discussions were progressing. The technical evaluation had gone well. But then something strange started happening. Every time we followed up, there was a new reason. Let's do it next week. We are still looking at it internally. I have been traveling. Let's reconnect after month end. Week after week, there was another reason. If you ask an AI assistant to summarize the situation, it might say customer has delayed the decision, follow up after 2 weeks. But after so many years in enterprise sales, something didn't feel right. Eventually, we discovered what had actually happened. He was either moving to another position or leaving the organization altogether. Now, put yourself in his shoes. Would you approve a multi million technology project a few weeks before leaving? Probably not. Would you tell every vendor you were about to leave? Probably not. So, what do you say instead? Let's discuss next week. Again, the words and the real reason were completely different. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever lost a deal without ever knowing why? I'm sure every experienced salesperson has, because enterprise buying isn't just about products, it's about people, and people rarely communicate literally. A CFO doesn't usually say, I don't trust your implementation capability. A CEO doesn't normally say, I had a bad experience 5 years ago and I'm still carrying that fear. A procurement head doesn't openly admit, I already have a preferred vendor. Instead, they say, we don't have budget. We will revisit next quarter. We have decided to continue with our current partner. Sometimes those reasons are genuine. Sometimes they are simply the safest way to end a conversation. Now, this is where experienced salespeople behave very differently. An average salesperson accepts the answer, an AI system records the answer, a great salesperson investigates the answer. If the CFO says there's no budget, he doesn't immediately close the opportunity. He asks himself, is it really a budget issue or is it an implementation concern? Has another project become more important? Has the board changed its priorities? Is the CFO worried about taking ownership if the project fails? Then he speaks to his champion. He speaks to his business user. Sometimes someone in finance, sometimes someone in operations. Sometimes he even requests another conversation with leadership, not to challenge the customer, but to understand the context. Because in enterprise sales, context is everything. And that's why I believe AI will transform sales, but not in the way most people imagine. Think about SaaS. A 5 license subscription, you probably don't need a salesperson. AI can answer your questions, compare products, recommend the right plan, even complete the purchase. But what happens when the decision is worth 100,000 or even bigger, or it affects the entire organization? Now the customer isn't just buying software, they are buying the confidence, they are buying implementation capability, they are buying risk reduction, they are buying someone who has done this before. As the complexity of the decision increases, the value of human judgment also increases. That's the pattern I have observed throughout my career. Simple decisions become automated, complex decisions become more human. And I think every sales head should remember this. Don't build a sales team that competes with AI. Build a sales team that does what AI cannot. Teach them to ask better questions. Teach them to understand organizations. Teach them to navigate politics. Teach them to build trust. Teach them to reduce fear. Customers don't pay premium prices for information anymore. Information is becoming free. Customers pay for judgment. So the next time someone tells you AI is replacing salespeople, I want you to remember one sentence. AI is exceptional at processing information. Great salespeople create conviction. AI helps companies analyze decisions. Experienced salespeople help customers make those decisions. And I believe that's exactly where the future of enterprise B2B sales lies. If you found this discussion useful, I would love to hear your own experiences. What's the most unusual reason you have ever discovered behind a delayed or a lost deal? Write it in the comments. Some of the best lessons in business don't come from books, They come from story like yours. Until next time, keep learning, keep observing, and remember, technology